Welcome to the Explainer. We're all trying to figure out what makes AI actually useful. I'm talking about the difference between an AI that's just a fun toy and one that feels like a real, trusted partner. Today, we're going to uncover that secret sauce.
All right, let's just jump right into a frustration I know you felt. You're deep in a conversation with an AI, you're trying to get something done, and poof, it forgets what you just said 2 minutes ago. It's like talking to someone with the worst short-term memory ever, right? So what's going on there?
Oh yeah, we have all been there. The support chatbot that makes you explain your problem from scratch every single time. Or the code assistant that completely loses the plot on your project. This whole AI amnesia thing, it takes something that's supposed to be a massive productivity booster and just turns it into a total headache.
So, the fix for this isn't just about getting better at writing prompts. It's actually about building a smarter environment for the AI to work in. And there's a name for this. It's called context engineering. Think of it as the art and science of giving the AI the perfect briefing with exactly the right info right at the moment it needs it.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, wait, isn't this just prompt engineering? And that's a great question, but they're different. Prompt engineering is like giving a chef a perfect recipe for one dish. It's a one-off thing. Context engineering? That's like designing the entire kitchen, the pantry, the tools, the workflow, so the chef can cook a whole multi-course meal, remembering everything from the appetizer to the dessert.
And believe me, this isn't just some small nerdy distinction. As the legendary Andrei Karpathy says, context engineering is the secret sauce behind every serious industrial-strength AI app out there. It's what makes them actually work in the real world.
Let's make this super concrete. Imagine you ask an AI, how do I get home from Grand Central? Simple question, right? But without any context, where's home? Do you want to walk, take the subway, fly? The AI has no clue, so it spits out some generic, totally useless directions.
But watch what happens when we engineer the context. We tell it our starting point is the World Trade Center, we prefer the subway, and we give it access to a live transit tool. All of a sudden, that same AI transforms into a super helpful partner, giving you a perfect step-by-step route that you can actually use. See the difference? So what exactly is this context we're talking about? Well, it's a whole cocktail of stuff. You've got your system instructions, the history of your chat, documents it can pull from, tools it can use, even live data. You're basically building the AI's entire universe for that one specific task.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Hang on. What about these brand new models with these ginormous million-token context windows? Can't we just, cram everything in there and call it a day? It seems logical, but surprisingly, the answer is a big, fat no. In fact, it's wild. Just dumping more information into the model doesn't just not solve the problem, it can actually make the AI worse. It can cause it to break in some really weird and fascinating ways.
So researchers have actually dug into this, and they've pinpointed 4 main ways that context can backfire. They have these great names for them: poisoning, distraction, confusion, and clash. Let's break down what these are, and more importantly, how we can engineer our way around them.
First up is what they call context poisoning. This is pretty wild. It's when a single tiny error, a hallucination, gets stuck in the AI's memory and just messes everything up. There's this crazy example of a DeepMind agent playing Pokemon. It hallucinated something about the game, and that one little mistake poisoned its strategy, making it chase some impossible goal for hours. The fix? You have to build a system that validates and quarantines info before letting it become a permanent memory.
All right, next up is context distraction. You know how in a really long meeting, people start forgetting the original point and just repeat themselves? That's what happens here. The conversation gets so long that the model gets bogged down in its own history. Instead of thinking creatively, it just starts echoing what's already been said. It loses the thread.
And this isn't just a theory, we've got the data to prove it. A study from Databricks found that a model's accuracy starts to take a nosedive after just 32,000 tokens. To put that in perspective, that's way, way before the context window is even close to being full. It proves that just having more space isn't the solution. Bigger isn't always better.
Okay, number 3 is context confusion, and this one is going to blow your mind. Get this, giving a model more tools can actually make it dumber. It gets confused and picks the wrong one. The solution here is something called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. Think of it like a smart tool caddy that only hands the AI the exact tool it needs for the job right now, instead of showing it the whole messy toolbox.
And finally, we've got context clash.
This happens when info comes in bits and pieces. The AI makes an early guess based on incomplete data, and that first, wrong idea gets stuck in its head. Even when the right info comes along later, that bad first impression clashes with it and messes up the final answer. The solution is pretty smart. You either have to actively trim out old, outdated info, or give the AI a separate scratch pad to work things out before committing.
So how do we actually do this? Well, it boils down to a pretty practical 5-step process. First, you map out what information is absolutely critical. Then, you design a blueprint for how to present it. Step 3, you plug it into real-world data, databases, APIs, you name it. 4, you structure that final prompt, organizing everything with clear labels. And last, you give it the tools to actually do things and, crucially, a way to check its own work. So, here's the big takeaway. Context engineering is what turns an AI from a clever party trick into a reliable, intelligent partner. It's the behind-the-scenes architecture that gives AI a memory, that makes it accurate, and that gives it that feeling that it actually gets what you're trying to do. So the next time you're working with an AI for anything, I want you to stop and ask yourself this one question. It's not, what's the perfect prompt? It's what context does this AI need to do this one specific thing really, really well? Because that, right there, is how you unlock its true power.